When you commune with me, commune this way. Holy Father, our Father that's in heaven, holy, holy is your wonderful, wonderful name. Let heaven's rule, your kingdom come to me today. And let your holy will, just like it's being acted out in heaven, let it be through my life today, just as it is in heaven. That's why it has us pray that way, because when you get in your mind and spirit, now when you just have it in your mind, it's not going to work for you. Intelligence does not connect you to the spiritual realm. Intelligence cannot penetrate the kingdom. That's why Jesus said you must be born from heaven to enter heaven. And he wasn't talking about just where you're going to go be after you die. He's talking about the word enter is penetrate. In order for you to penetrate the third heaven in your communion with him, you have to be born of his spirit. And when you're born of his spirit, your communion with him, when it's in love and faith and desire to please, it's not just that he hears you. All of a sudden, you become of him. You're seated in heavenly places. And you will find yourself being directed in this day beyond your plans. It's a mystery. So, they overcame by the blood, and we know now how the blood gets distributed. Only through love. Forget confessing your sin. Forget repenting of sins. Forget confessing Jesus Christ. Forget that. If you're not connected in love for his person, his feelings, if you're not connected to pleasing him, don't bother to repent. Don't bother to confess, because it's not going to work. It's not that he doesn't hear you. It's that the mystery can't take place because the combination to heaven, it does not exist in intelligence and religious duty. It doesn't exist. You can't open the vault. You can't penetrate the third heaven when your words don't come from desire to please and love and feeling. That's what happened to me May 20th, 1972, Truckee, Nevada, coming forward in a small little prayer breakfast because Jesus was speaking to me. Jesus was speaking to me, sitting back. There was only about 70 people there. And this little drug addict got up and shared his story and how the Lord delivered him from heroin. That didn't impress me. What impressed me was when the little guy said, Jesus woke me up and spoke to me. Man, he had my attention. I was glued to this guy. Never heard anybody say, Jesus spoke to me. He said, if you throw away your heroin, I'll heal you. The guy got up, threw it away, went to bed. From the next day on, the rest of his life, he was totally healed. No withdrawals, no problem, no nothing. Totally healed. That little testimony changed my life forever. Because I did grow up motivated, I get this, I was motivated to please my authority figures. I was not motivated to cross every T and dot every I and fulfill every rule. I was not motivated that way. I was motivated by two men who flew bombers in the Air Corps during World War II. They were command pilots, and they distributed airplanes to the coast. And my mom was a command B-25 pilot in the Aleutian chain. She ferried command officers throughout the Aleutian chain during the last year of the war. They were military trained. They were among the greatest generation. I was raised by them on an airport, a little airport in Rifle, Colorado. And I learned military discipline. And I from the age of 9 on up, I was servicing airplanes, driving tank trucks, pickup trucks, washing airplanes, checking fueling airplanes, doing all that stuff. By 15 years old, I was a crew chief over our crop dusting business. 5 airplanes, 5 sprayers, an $80,000 helicopter, 5 tank trucks, 5 pickup trucks, a big crew. At 15, I was a crew chief over the whole operation. Not because I was smart, but because I was connected. I was connected to my mom and Betty, who were my authority figures, but my mom and aunt. And basically, I wanted to please them. I found pleasure in pleasing them, not in just obeying them. And I knew when I was displeasing to them. They weren't very religious. They let me know in no uncertain terms when I wasn't pleasing. And sometimes for my mom, and even Betty wasn't as good a fighter as my mom. My mom would nail me with a right hand to my chops before I could put my guard up. Betty was a roundhouse swinger, so I could evade her punches. Seriously, I mean, sometimes it came to that, you know. And they disciplined attitude more than works. And so I knew how to keep my attitude right. That was my training. I went through, that was boot camp for me. And by the time I joined the Navy and went to Navy boot camp, it was a cakewalk. Boot camp was a cakewalk. And the commanding officer of the base, of the training base, who was a full commander, and my company commander, they put me in charge over the whole company, 100 men, because they saw there was something. I was really different. I was like a Marine Corps graduate in the Navy. That's the kind of discipline I had. And I was voted by the commander of the base outstanding recruit. Not because I was smart. I didn't get the intellectual award, by the way. Another guy in my company got that award. Kind of shows you where that's at. But pleasing, how much do we love the Lord? Do we walk through life in love with him, or do we walk through life obligated to him? That may be a hard nut for some people to really get hold of. But until you do, things won't work. Righteousness, peace, and joy will not accompany your house. There'll always be conflict, and conflict is good. Conflict is good. If you could see conflict as the chastening of the Lord because you're his daughter, you're his son, and he loves you and he wants to bring you into compliance with the principle of love and pleasing,